Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're having a great day. Nice sunny hot day here today. So that's always nice. Tuesday, got through Monday, getting through Tuesday slowly but surely. Hope you guys are having a good one. So I was going to talk about the problems of overthinking stuff, and this is something that I'm guilty of doing. I've done it many times in the past where I've overthought stuff to the point where I've talked myself out of doing things, which is no good. It's a normal thing. Hey Jody, how's it going? Hi Ryan. Hey Mark. It's very normal to overthink things. It's kind of a human thing to do, but it's when it starts to get in your way that you need to really think about what's happening. And if you find yourself kind of getting stuck and you want to move forward, but you're having a really hard time moving forward, it could be because you're just overthinking things too much and you're actually kind of paralyzing yourself. So something to really kind of think about. Hey Alyssa, how's it going? So why do we overthink? Most of the time, the root of overthinking just comes from a lack of self-confidence. So you doubt your ability to do something. You don't think that you'll be able to accomplish it. So you start thinking about all of the possible things that could go wrong and all the negative things, all the really bad scenarios. And before you know it, you're thinking, why did I even think of doing this? Why did that even pop into my head? And the funny thing is that our brains will start to talk us out of something quite quickly. So, you know, when you have that really great idea, you're like, oh yeah, I'm totally going to do that. And then you pause just for a few seconds, and all of a sudden these thoughts start to pop up into your head as to why you shouldn't do it. And you start thinking about worst case scenarios, and then you start talking yourself out of it completely. That's something that happens. That's a very normal thing. It's a psychological thing. I'm just reading a really great book about how that happens. It's called The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins, if you want to read a book. That's such a good book. And it literally takes just seconds for our brains to start to talk us out of trying something new. And it's sort of a protective measure, kind of, you know, keep us in our comfort zone, don't risk anything. But if it's holding you back from doing the stuff that you really want to do, and you're just feeling like you're completely stuck and you want to move forward, then it's become a problem. So you need to figure out how to deal with that. Hey, Allie, how's it going? So how do we stop overthinking everything? And I just have 3 points here that I'm going to talk about because I got a little bit of a late start. I fell asleep again on my couch. I've been so tired lately. I think I'm still battling this flu or cold or whatever it was that I had, so I've been sleeping a lot, which is good. I need the rest, that's fine, but it's putting me late when I want to do things, so I'm going to go over these quite quickly. So the first one is to just catch yourself when you start thinking too much about something and remind yourself that your thinking will not lead to any kind of insight or solution. So you could think something to death and it's not going to do you a bit of good. It's just going to make you feel more doubtful about things and, you know, kind of turn you off your path. And I used to do this quite a bit when I first started road riding. So I was a little nervous about riding, and we'd have these scheduled club rides, and I'd get up in the morning, and I'd start thinking about all the things that could possibly go wrong, like, oh, it's starting to rain a little tiny bit, it might start to pour, and the road's going to be slippery, and I haven't ridden with these people before, and it's all guys going, and what if I can't keep up? So just having all these self-doubt thoughts, and then quite often I'd be like, screw it, I'm not doing this, I'm going back to bed, and I'd go back to bed and miss out on a really fun ride, because the days that I did talk myself into going, I always had fun. Nothing bad ever happened. I always had a great time. So when you catch yourself starting to have all these thoughts, you just have to stop yourself and remind yourself that these thoughts are not serving you. You can't see into the future. You can't know what's going to happen. And it's just your brain trying to talk you out of something. So tell your brain, you know, shut up. Everything's going to be fine. And you'll never know what's going to happen or how something's going to feel until you actually experience it. So especially with new things, if you're thinking about trying something new and then all of a sudden you start thinking about all the bad things, like if I started thinking about competing and I started thinking about how walking out on stage in 5-inch heels I might fall over and break my ankle, I could easily talk myself out of even trying that. But I won't let myself go there because it doesn't do me any good, and I will never know the experience until I actually live it. So I'm going to live it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to push myself. And this is something I've learned to do over the years because I've pushed myself I've seen a bit of success. I've seen some failures, but also some success. So that's why I have the confidence to kind of stop overthinking things and start doing more. Hey, Teresa, how's it going? And then remind yourself that you can always change your path. So rather than thinking of everything that could go wrong, why not just start, do the first step you need to do to start, and then keep going. And then if it starts to go south, then you just change your path. So you just say, okay, this isn't working, and the bad things that I imagined might happen are starting to happen. So what do? You stop and you switch directions. It's as easy as that. You know, your choices aren't going to be completely final. You might think it's going to be a final choice, but you know, things change. I mean, I've had so many things change on me with my business. You know, I had an idea of what I wanted to do, and I imagined how it would look, and things have changed so much over the years. Like, that's just what happens. So, you know, don't think that doing something you're stuck, because you can always change. You can always change the direction. You can stop doing what you're doing, whatever. You just need to take that first step and see if it is going to work out. Because what if it did work out? What if it was awesome? You know, what if this was going to be an amazing, life-changing thing for you, and you didn't even try because you thought about it too much? So just take that first step and see what happens, and then go with it. Hey, Joanna, how's it going? Hi, Ange. And then the third one is to force yourself to turn off the thoughts and just act. And this is something I've actually been pretty good at doing over the years. I think where I really learned it well was when I started teaching classes, spin classes and aerobic classes and all those classes. I was pretty shy about it. I was really nervous about it, but I committed to it. Someone was going to pay me to be there. I had to be there no matter what. So I would force myself to not listen to the voice that was telling me that I was going to mess up, I was going to forget my routine, and I would just go. I would just like turn my thoughts off completely and just go and get it done. And it was always fine. It always worked out great. So this can be a tough one because those thoughts can be very loud, but rather than giving them a chance to really form in your head, shut it off. And in the 5-second rule that I'm reading, she actually teaches you to count down backwards from 5. And what that does is it just kind of puts your head into a different space so that rather than thinking and dwelling, now you're going to act. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then you act. Like, this book is awesome. I love this book. I'm listening to it every single day on Audible, and the advice is just so cool. It's really, really, really cool. So check it out if you need some help motivating yourself to do stuff, because we really do get in our own way so many times. We let our brains take over and tell us how terrible things are going to be, and then we end up just sitting there in a safe spot doing nothing, wishing we had done something. So, you know, you got to just force yourself to do it. You got to turn those thoughts off. I think the key thing to remember is that you can't predict what's going to happen. You can't know what's going to happen until you actually do something and see what happens. So rather than letting your head get the best of you, just get out there, start doing the thing that you want to do, and you know, see what happens. And if it's not going well, you can always change it. And taking oneself into or out of anything, a hard conundrum when feeling conflicted between the positives and the hard battle of saying yes every day. Yeah, it's definitely a battle. It's definitely something that has to be worked on. I think one of the reasons why I like personal development books so much is because it helps me with this, because I was definitely one of those people that just wanted that safe space. I wanted to be comfortable. I didn't want to step out of that. I didn't want to risk making a mistake. I didn't want to risk looking stupid. I didn't want to risk hurting myself. I didn't want to risk anything. And it got to be, you know, a really kind of crappy way to live for me personally. And I was in you know, kind of a bad space, and I needed to get out of that. And I think that's when I started, without even really thinking about it, that's when I started, you know, shutting down the voices in my head that were telling me that I couldn't do things, and just going for it instead, just, you know, trying things out. And luckily, you know, I tried some things and saw success with that. I think if I had tried something and failed and then kept failing at things, it probably would have kind of kept me stuck, because, you know, that's a hard one to deal with. But seeing little bits of success and acknowledging those little bits of success helped me realize that, you know, I am capable of making these changes, and even though they can be tough and uncomfortable, totally worth it. So definitely takes some work. And, you know, if you're into personal development type reading and you want some good books to read, let me know, because I've got like a stack of them at home, and my Audible library has a ton of them. So if you need some suggestions, just let me know. I've got some really good ones that I've been reading. Hey Teresa, you're constantly fighting your own thoughts and you get so anxious. Oh, I know, anxiety, yeah. But listening and knowing others feel the same and they overcome this helps a little. It does. When you realize other people go through the same kind of things that you're going through, there's a certain level of comfort in that. And anxiety is crippling. I actually just listened to the chapter on anxiety in the book that I'm reading, the 5-Second Rule. And she actually says that when you're feeling anxious, you get the same kind of physical reaction as when you're feeling excited. So like a racing heart rate, sweaty palms, you know, all those feelings, that feeling in your stomach. So she said when you start to feel anxious, catch yourself and make yourself say, I'm so excited about this, and talk yourself into being excited about what's about to happen. And I haven't tried it yet. I'm going to try this, and especially when I have to go and walk out on stage in 5-inch heels. I'm going to tell myself how excited I am to do that rather than feeling anxious and nervous, and see if that works. But it's just, a lot of it is just, you know, turning it around in your head to be something positive rather than something negative, and then a certain comfort and a certain bravery comes from that, and I will be testing that, and I'm going to let you know how that goes. So I have to run because I do have to get ready for someone who's coming in to see me. If you have any questions or comments, as always, please do leave them. I love it when you guys participate with me. This is great. I love the conversation. If you want to chat privately, you can always message me as well. I'm more than happy to chat if you like. So take care, you guys. Have an awesome evening. I'll talk to you again soon.